It's The Truth. You've got GM Calethras, you've got Vince Nardone. It's a recap of Division 1, Division 2 football. No Division 1 games that went on, so we're going to focus on what was played in Division 2. We're still going to talk about Division 1 as well. In studio, we have Terry Tam, Peace Dilleries, and as usual, our mediocrely awesome producer, Eagle, who does his best, and we thank him.
We all love you, Eagle. We all love you, Eagle. We got lots to talk about. We got some teams getting their first wins.
Mm-hmm.
My Patriots won the Super Bowl. Not a big deal.
We have a new segment as well that you're excited to pioneer.
Yes, we do. Yeah, this week we're gonna have a new segment called GM Under Fire, where I'm gonna shoot about 15 questions at GM that he's not been
unprepped.
Unprepped. I can't wait. Let's get it going.
So we're gonna start it off. We're gonna look at a couple of games. Division 2 first games. Flag football fantasy versus BC McGonagals. 45-0 final. Bit of a blowout. Tell me your impressions on this game.
Bit of a blowout. I mean, that was a huge blowout. Benny finally, no turnovers, 7 touchdowns, 4 of which went to Bailey. I mean, what can I say about this game? You watch this game and it's easy to say that FFF has the best defense in Division 2, like bar none. I think on the season they have 38 points against after 4 weeks. That's less than 10 points a game.
Yep.
I mean, Benny literally just has to...
Admittedly, though, food for thought, one of those games was the game against No Regard, where it was called because of the fact that...
It wasn't called. They still played it through.
Yeah, but it was at a later time. No Regard weren't at 100%. Just playing devil's advocate, I do absolutely agree, though, that flag football...
No, I don't think that the outcome would have been any different if that injury doesn't happen. Maybe it would have. I don't think it would have been. Anyways, they got 38 points against on the season. And No Regard... I mean, BC is rough. 57 yards total for Joel. The top receiver had 17 yards. Wow.
On 4 completions, no less.
On 4 completions. I mean, after that game, this is one of those games where, they have a lot of these games this season. You just want to forget about it. Erase, Control, Alt, Delete. But, I mean, I feel like at this point, you want to do that to your season.
Also, I find it really interesting that Luis Moda, top running back for McGill, top offensive player, has no receptions whatsoever, but has 3 tackles on defense. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's mismanagement on their part or just the defense of flag football fantasy really keyed in on him as an individual.
I don't think it matters who you key in on. The defense that they have, whomever lines up against them. I mean, if I'm a quarterback lining up against FFF, I have no clue what I'm going to do. I don't know who I want to attack, what my first read should be, what my second read should be. I mean, I would take a knee.
On the other side, how did BC McGonagals get out of this rut right now? The core have played in the division before. Maxime Dupree has played as well. Hugo Dupree has played. How did they get out of this rut?
Well, first of all, their roster doesn't show up day in, day out. They never really have their full roster, so you don't know who's going to show up and how to get out of this rut. Keep it simple. I mean, you got to fall back to foundations. You got to go back to basics. The only way that anybody can get out of a rut, you just go right back to the basic, make it work, find the plays that work, find the 5-yard play that works, find the 10-yard play that works, and just build on that. You got to find the basics again.
I really don't envy them. I mean, they have CLR forces coming up, Served with Ice, who are a sleeper team. Shakalooinz, I think, would be another team, similar players, who is kind of struggling, kind of not. I think that would be the defining game for them. But they have Cold Fusion, Legends, and Gladiators. They don't have a lot of breaks.
No. Tough times coming up.
So next on the docket, we had #No Regard playing against Serve with Ice. It was a 6-19 final. A lot of injuries on the side of No Regard. Tony Desmond also missing from Served with Ice. What do you think of this low-scoring game?
This game was going on at the same time as my game. From what I noticed, there's the same thing. Tony Desmond not showing up on the stat sheet, so I figured he wasn't there. Pineda threw for 2 picks, but got them back on defense, which is always good. I mean, the only thing that'll make a difference in a game is if I'm on defense and my quarterback's throwing a bunch of picks, I'm starting to get demotivated to go out there and get turnovers or get the ball back. And if my quarterback's getting those picks back himself, I mean, like, what more can you ask of?
Are you
Pineda?
surprised with this overall score?
Surprised, no, because #Norgard has put up no points on the season. I'm surprised Servo Ice didn't put up more, but without Desmond being there, I mean, I'm not that surprised. Chevalier had a big game for once, finally. A receiver coming out of U of M. JD's my boy. He's a really, really, really athletic guy.
I'm surprised we haven't seen him on the first play fly or stop and go in the last little while, because that was their key play.
It's been missing. I feel like they've been focusing more on Tony Desmond, and now that he wasn't there this week, I mean, it was his come out party finally for JD. He had the room to do what he does best.
On #Norgard, on their side, who needs to be the standout player for them? Who needs to elevate them out of this rough?
Absolutely needs to be Alex Halowag. I mean, he's been doing nothing all season long. He's thrown, I think, 2 picks per game, if not 3. It's been a rough season. He needs to come out of this rut. He needs to get this team and put on his back and bring them to where they need to be.
Brent Callender dressed for #Norgard. That's interesting.
Yeah, I saw him.
With the rumors that James Floriani is going to be joining the #Norgard squad, what are your thoughts on this? Will it elevate them to something different?
I mean, I don't think so. The #Norgard is already full of egos, or not egos, but guys who can hold their own and speak their mind. I don't think James Floriani coming into this team brings any more leadership than needed, and or talent that they don't have or need. I feel like they need size on defense and they need speed on offense. James Floriani might be bringing you some kind of experience. He might be able to put in his say here or there, but I mean, I don't know if he's going to make a difference. I don't think so.
Next game on the docket, Usual Suspects, O.N.S. Usual Suspects won it in an upset, 49-37. Lead us through what happened in that game, the last couple plays, where all the controversy came from at the end of that game.
Well, before even the last play in the controversy that went down, this was a good game. This was a great game. Punch for punch, by far Leon's best game of the season.
26 for 30, 7 TDs, 0 INTs.
Yeah. No turnovers. Not that O.N.S. can create turnovers because they haven't all season long, but just to say, Leon went punch for punch with Kevin until this huge 4th down incompletion by Chris Pinsonneau in the end zone, ball in the chest. It looked like it was the easiest catch, and you know when you got that time, like all day to think about it, you see it coming, it's like, I got this.
The worst.
I got this. And then you don't got this. That's what happened. On 4th down turnover, that was a huge swing of event. And momentum went all towards the Usual Suspect, and they just ran with it. Kennedy had a huge game. Kenton Lowe.
I was playing slants. At the same time. It seemed exactly as slants. It seemed like every time I looked over on the other field, Kenton Lowe was running a slant that was open.
All day long. And this other route that they got going, that it's rare that I see teams do this, is the out, up, and hook. So it's the chair but sit with Kennedy open all day long. And if Leon does a good job looking it off, which he's been doing, that's there all day.
What are your thoughts on the non-sack, the play, not naming names, but just what went on?
Well, near the end of the game there, you got a deep, I think it was a post corner or just a straight up corner. Leon looked like he was sacked, threw the ball, ended up being a completion. Receiver ran out of bounds, short of a touchdown, gets called a touchdown, and then shit hits the fan, to say the least. I don't want to. I mean, we're supposed to be.
It's good for us to know without having names or just knowing what's going on. Is that
if I'm on the field and I'm playing defense, I'm as rattled as they were. Let's put it that way.
Perfect. Next game, Shakalooinz, Gladiateurs. We finally start to see the Gladiateurs team emerge. David Hurley was in the studio just before we started. He mentioned he thinks that Gladiators are struggling because Frank LeBeau doesn't have the safety blanket of Marc-Andre LeBeau to throw to. You see Charles had a 40 bomb. Alex Lever had a decent outing as well. You start to see the impact of Alex Neto-Putes on this team as well. Tell us about this game.
This was my first time picking against the Glads. I always go with experience, especially with the Glads. I love these guys. They always pull through for me, and I picked against them last week, and it seemed to have helped them or carried them through this game. They've just found a way to put up points without having to put it all on the quarterback, François Lebeau. I mean, a pick 6 by Alex Nadeau-Pius, unexpected, but granted, you'll take that. You'll take the pick 6 any day of the week. LeBeau rushing for a touchdown, rare, but also another way to go get points. I mean, if you put all this together, you combine all your and the addition of Jas Godowski on offense is huge. I was talking about the aging roster last week, and it's a fact. I mean, these guys are not getting any younger, and if you don't adapt and you don't evolve and you don't bring in youth and you don't, if you allow the division to adapt or evolve around you and you don't bring in youth, then you're just going to fall behind. And by bringing in J.S. Gordowski, it
helps that he's your boy.
So much. It makes him so much better. Not that he had a good game, but he has an impact on the game. Him lining up as a slaughter, as a receiver, makes a huge impact.
Where do you see these teams finishing week 10? It seems like Shakalooinz right now have struggled a little bit due to the fact that they play teams that are very chemistry based. Shakalooinz have phenomenal athletes on their team, but when it comes down to teams that really rely on dinking and dunking and really marching up the field, they have those problems.
Yeah, like we both know that these teams that stack up at the beginning of the season, they're just a bunch of athletes and put them together and come out and play flag. They never really have success, which is why I always go for the experience. I feel like Glads are a playoff contender. They're going to make playoffs. I put them in the playoff. Are they going to have success in the playoff? I feel like they're missing a little bit of size to be a better contender than they are now. Shakalooinz outside looking in.
Okay. So we're going to move on now. Like we said before, without prep, you have a bunch of questions for me. We're there already. I know you're excited. Tell us what to expect about this just before we get into it.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to expect but GM being GM because he hasn't been prepped for this. You haven't been prepped at all.
I haven't seen any of the questions.
I came up with a bunch of random questions. I wanted to put you on the spot instead of me being on the spot for once, and I feel like you can take it.
Okay.
So let's see where it goes.
So with no prep, I'm going to probably give you 1, 2, 3 sentence answers just because there's a lot to cover.
Some of them are you're gonna see. You're gonna run with this. Okay,
Let's
ready? Okay. Question number 1. If you had $1 to bet on any other team than Montreal's finest in Division 1, who would you bet on to win Division 1?
I'm surprised in myself for saying it, but it would be D-Boys.
D-Boys, and why?
I don't think that it would be the case that they would necessarily beat Montreal's finest, but for whatever reason, if Montreal's finest lost and then whoever came, I think of the teams remaining, D-Boys are the best team. I think that Montreal's finest excel against the D-Boys, but of the teams that remain, the D-Boys are the best remaining team.
Fair enough. All right. Let's say you're a QB and you line up against FFF. What do you do to beat them?
I think you're going to have to run a whole bunch of slants. You need to start making them get antsy. You run the hitch, you run the hook, you make them get antsy. You start to have them cheat more to pick off, to jump those short passes, and then you attack them deep. You start building up a momentum where you have a bunch of guys playing short, and then you flood the deep zone and hit them around the middle.
So you're saying you can catch these guys cheating?
I think that they're going to get antsy. You have a ton of playmakers who are very used to making plays on the ball, getting there. If there's a whole bunch of hooks in front of them, they're going to want to get in on the action. And I think that's how, if they're to be beaten, that's how they're going to be beaten. It's not necessarily even going to be the case because this is probably the best defense in Div 2.
By far. Okay, question number 3. Scale from 1 to 10. How rattled were you to not be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
I would say 4 to 5. I'm guessing you said there was a question you weren't sure if you're going to say for the end or put it in the middle.
This was the one.
I would say 4 to 5. Rayhan Star Wars has been a huge proponent of this league. He was big when the league first started, getting the media together, the podcast back when they were still podcasts, the Weekly Extra Point Live, his article as well. 4 to 5, even less. I'm very happy for him.
Okay. Question number 4. If you could guarantee a team to go winless on the season, Division 1 or 2, who would you pick?
Oh.
You got Terra Squad undefeated.
Yeah, there's
not undefeated, winless.
BC and McGonagall. Not because of their skill, but more because of their schedule. We talked about BC and McGonagall's. They have a rough schedule. I think it comes down to that Shakalooinz game. Is going to be one of their few. I think Terra Squad. We're going to touch upon it a little bit more later. I think Terra Squad are going to come out with a win in Division 1. Express will definitely come out with a win. I
see that too. Question 5. If you had to pick a quarterback, Joel Hull or Zan Simmons, and why?
I think that Joel Hull is starter for McGill, very good quarterback. I think that with him, you could build a team around him that could really, you can teach him what works in this league, what doesn't.
Yeah, especially that.
Zan Simmons is a great quarterback, but he's very dependent on the players he has. If you took these two teams and switch them, you switch the quarterback from each team, you put Zan Simmons on BC McGonagall's, and you put Joel Hull on the commission, Joel would flourish on the commission, and Zan would have a lot of trouble. If you said he runs a lot now, he'll be running every second play.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more because I busted Zan's balls all year long, and I watched his game yesterday, and his receivers really don't help him out at all. Question number 6. You're trapped on a desert island. Which player would you want with you and why? Any player from Div 1 or 2.
I would say Simon Rayom. He's an engineer. He's got that beard. He looks like he would be like a resourceful person on a desert island. So from Gladiators,
rational you got there. I love how smart that answer was. Okay, go on.
He's definitely someone who can make things work. He's very resourceful. He's smart. He's funny. He makes you laugh. So if I'm stuck with anyone, pardon?
Is he MacGyver?
I would hope he's MacGyver. So if there's anyone I would have to be stuck with,
Okay,
aside from you,
Simone.
because I think we'd get along well.
That'd be good. Eh? We'd go hunting, do some stupid stuff. Okay, question number 8.
You'd go hunting, and I would make sure you were entertained.
You'd cook when I get back? Sounds good. Question number 7. Do you think Rajdi wishes he would have kept DK in Division 2 and stayed with Finest?
Absolutely not.
No?
I think that this was something that has really stirred up the ranks in Division 1. Not to make it sound cocky or bring light of anything like that on his part, but I would guess that it would have been a little bit tedious with him to just win season after season, season after season. This is definitely something that's a challenge. It's huge for the league. It's huge for the division. I don't think he would change anything.
All right. I like that answer. The commission just beat O.N.S. Do you think they will make a run for the playoffs?
The commission did not beat O.N.S.
Usual suspects. Usual suspects just beat O.N.S. Do you think they're going to make a run at the playoffs?
This is a team that's
This was their first win.
This was their first win. This
They
is a
have
team
a
that's
tie.
very momentum based. So I think the next 2 weeks on the usual suspects roster are going to be key for them. If they can keep up this pace, if Leon Holder can keep playing that same football that we saw in 2011, we saw in 2012 as well, towards the later end of the season. It all comes down to cold fusion. This is a huge game for them. If they stay competitive, and if they come out with a win, absolutely. TMT, they should win, I would say, so long as they don't implode. Wolverines, they should win. It all comes down to the cold fusion matchup and how they fare against the top dogs in the division.
All right. O.N.S. defense or Seattle Seahawks red zone play calling? What's worse?
It all comes down to who's going to learn first.
So what's your answer?
You know I'm a Seahawks fan, so I'm gonna stand by my team. But I'm still at the core an FPF analyst. I'll still take the back of any team in the league. I think that O.N.S. are a great bunch of guys. I think that they're going to take this as a learning experience as well.
I love O.N.S. As a group of guys, of course. But I mean, their defense is horrendous.
I think both teams are going to learn from this.
I think my thing just died. Don't die. I got backup.
We have backup. I'll try and embellish on this a little bit. I don't think it's
okay. This right now, I'm gonna rattle. I'm gonna go with 2 names. You have to pick a name. You got a plug. Nice. Okay, you have to pick a name between the 2 and give me a 1-word answer as to why. Okay.
For what?
I'm gonna give you 2 names. You pick between the 2 and you give me 1 word. It's not the right plug.
It's a surface.
No, but it's not the right plug. Nate or Garrett Taylor. It's not the right plug. I'm telling you.
For what? What am I picking them for?
As a human.
As a player?
Human beings.
For
first aid.
I tend to know Nate a little bit better. If I'm choosing a player, I think that
no, not don't go football on this. Just go people. Or go football.
Okay,
it'll be easier.
I know Nate more as a player, so I would go with Nate. I think that to build around a team, I like Garrett's speed a little bit more. I like his versatility, even though Nate is solid on defense. He's one of the better defenders in FPF. 1 word, Garrett.
That's okay. We're gonna start. Fine. That one we'll skip that. Pick a name between the 2 and give me a 1-word answer.
As to what?
As to why? Just 1 word. Give me 1 word. Like you find him, whatever. Give me 1 word. You get it?
Yes.
Good. Pat Chenard or Tam?
Pat Chenard.
1 word now.
More accurate. That's 2 words.
So accurate? Accurate. See, that works.
Accurater.
Accurate. Matt Kerouac or Ryan Aridi?
Ryan Aridi.
1 word.
Brothers.
I like that. That was it for my 3. Okay. Who do you think would win best out of 5 between me and you if we had a 5-event, that's a challenge? First event being a badminton game, second being chess game, third being a Madden game, 4 arm wrestling, and 5 chugging a beer.
I would come off to a great start with badminton and chess, and then I'd lose the next 3 by and far.
Okay, so I would win?
Yeah, we were talking off
So
off
I would
air.
rape you
that
at badminton.
I don't think so. I played tennis for Vanier. I'm very good at racket sports. Arm wrestling, we were talking off air that you have the word familia tattooed across your bicep. I think they would only be able to fit like the first 2 or 3 letters, like F, A, and M, and then it would just be fam for me, and then it would die off.
Because your bicep...
There you go.
Okay, last question. Question number 14. How much on a scale from 1 to 17 do you enjoy this new segment?
15. I'm going to give a 1 point for every one of the questions, and then 1 for my own personal enjoyment as well. So 15 out of 17.
All right, so high five.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this. Let's touch back upon this. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to come back. We're going to preview some of the games that are coming up. We have a quick true or false as well on the truth.
The truth.
Calling the Audible has been brought to you by the English Montreal School Board's DEAL program. Distance education for all learners will allow you to obtain your high school diploma or prerequisites for CEGEP or vocational studies from the comfort of your own home. It's never too late to go back to school. Learn anywhere at your own pace and get your diploma. Call 514-788-5937 for information or visit www.distanted.ca for more details.
We're back on the truth. Just during the break, we were discussing how I didn't get the segment. I've had problems with this before with Peas and with Mo Khan, so I'm starting to think that maybe it's not them that are the problem. Maybe it's just that I don't work well on one-word answers in segments.
It's becoming pretty clear.
If you're just tuning in, I'm GM Calethris. I can be tweeted live at GMKOLE44. At Vince Nardone is sitting across from me. At Eagle FPF is the best person you want to tweet if you want to get an actual answer from one of us, because we'll actually have it brought up on the TV in the meantime. So, the truth, our weekly segment, true or false, just because we're running a little bit short on time here. Give me your true or false and why. First one, Montreal's finest will sweep the year-end individual awards. So, quarterback, receiver, two-way player, and defensive player.
True, and I got unless Chenard continues being a sack machine. Chenard's off to 8 sacks so far in the season after 4 games. If he continues on this way, he'll take defensive player of the year.
Express need more of an output from Patrick Chenard than they do from SCC. At this point, which is the more important player? Or true?
True. There's no SCC without Chenard. I mean, it's all on whether or not Chenard is able to get him the ball, right? So if Chenard doesn't do him or doesn't excel, SCC is nothing.
That happened. Division 2 conference. Division 2 conference A. So Cold Fusion, Clockwork, Wolverines, TMT, Chernobyl Circus is stronger than Division B, which
O.N.S,
is
Mr. Shaw.
Conference B. Flag Football Fantasy, Legends, CLR Forces, Serve with Ice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it dies down, right? So you got FFF, Legends, CLR, Serve with Ice, and then you got Glads, okay, and then it dies down in Conference B. So I go with A. True. Conference A is just way more talented.
Perfect. So I like it. You get better answers. You get better answers out of yourself than you do out of me.
It works. I'm prepped. You're not.
I like that. Game previews. First one.
We got one more. No, you're missing one.
Oh yes, that's right. Cold Fusion will run up a roster of 16 players or more by the end of the season.
They're currently sitting at 14 after 4. I go true. If Prince continues being the GM of the year, because as we can see so far with the call-ups that he's called in, Frank Bruno for Alexi.
Antonio Lani played one game as well.
It's true. Antonio's not even up there. So they're at 15 because they're missing Antonio. So they're at 15 as of right now. So they only need one more guy on that roster.
So that's a full true. Think they'll hit 20?
I go over 20, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Over, under, I go over.
So let's bring up our rundown just before we wrap this up. Demons, Terror Squad, what are your thoughts on this game?
I mean, Terror Squad can't afford to lose anymore. It's time to...
Whether or not they can afford to lose it or not, this is the truth.
Yeah.
True or false?
Well,
Terror
the truth
Squad
is,
will-
the
you
truth
think-
is, Terror Squad cannot lose.
Okay.
That's the truth. Demons can't afford to lose either. They're off. They're off. They got their first win last week against Express. Big win for them, and they need to keep going on that path. Terror Squad needs to get on that exact same path. And are they going to be able to do it against this team that's now trying to heat up? Maybe, but they have to. I pick Demons.
I think that this is actually going to be the game where Terror Squad wins it, provided they're careful on offense, because the Terror Squad offense could be a thorn in the side of the Demons' defense. The Demons' offense is going to be unstoppable against them. It's going to come down to, it's going to be a game of possessions. Who does more on offense? I think Terror Squad are going to come out and surprise.
All right. Between Carmen and Tam, I think Carmen can protect the ball better. And I think it's going to come down to turnovers. So I go with Demons.
Next game, I know you don't have to give me a prediction, but just your thoughts on this game. Flagmon-Sac, DK.
No thoughts. On to you.
Thank you. No thoughts from you. I think this is going to be a great rundown. We're going to see if Flagmon-Sac are for real, because DK are going to come in with a game plan to try and neutralize that cross-body throw, to try and neutralize those deep routes, that post, the deep in. So I think we're going to have to see if Alexander Putes can really adapt. Also, having Ryan Aridi rushing against him, he's going to have to think outside the box, because he's not going to be able to buy as much time as he had in the past. I like DK in this game. I think it's going to be a close affair. It also depends on who Flagmon-Sac bring out to the game, because it changes week in, week out.
I'm excited for that game.
Clockwork O.N.S.
This is going to be a really good one. I mean, this is O.N.S. defense is the worst in the league, giving up the most amount of points. You got Ego playing with nunchucks. Against Clockwork offense. High power. I mean, one play to get a touchdown, or two if you throw a 15 hook to Theo. I mean, we got Rich Humes, you got Matt Patron, you got Matt Kirouac. It's a never-ending list of Alex Pastalakakakakakis, my man. I mean, there's so much going on there. It's tough. With O.N.S. unable to make a stop, I don't know if they're going to be able to make adjustments. I don't know if they're going to bring in some new defensive DBs. Kevin Wyeth, you can't rely on Kevin Wyeth to put up 50 points to win a game. It's just not how you can't go into a game expecting or hoping that, oh shit, I hope Kevin can throw for 8 touchdowns, or can throw for 9, and or could break a run on a 4th down and make a play, because he can't really rely on his receivers. It can't happen like that. You got to make a stop. Kev needs to be able to be, I mean, he has to be able to think that, oh, okay, if I turn the ball over, if I punt it once, my defense can make a stop. That's not the case as of right now. So all the pressure's on him, and I think it's too much pressure in Division 2.
I think I'm going to side with you on this one. I do like Clockwork in this game as well. Wolverines, Les Monsieur Chat, two teams that will need this in a very, very competitive division.
Yeah, Les Monsieur Chat having a rough season, so are the Wolverines. Armenians against the world right now, I guess. I mean, go for it. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, I think that right now, Les Monsieur Chat need this game. They need it much more than Wolverines do. Les Monsieur Chat are a well-built team that haven't necessarily been able to find success since the finals.
Yeah.
They've struggled since then. I think they need to go back, really establish what their identity is. I don't know if it's going to be this week against the Wolverines, but it's food for thought, because they're too strong for Div 3, but they're struggling in Div 2. Where to go from there?
I even in Division 3, I mean, they would be a better fit for Division 3, but I'm happy that they are in Division 2, because they're going to gain the experience and find out what works and what doesn't work. But Wolverines is tough. It's going to be a long season for them. I've been saying that. I'm going to go with Les Monsieur Chat.
I think that it's going to come down to one or two interceptions, and I think that Samuel Bibeau, who hasn't had breakout games up until this point, will flourish this week. So I wanted to touch on this last one just because we haven't really talked about them as a whole. We talked about BC a lot, good or bad, but BC McGonagall's against CLR Forces. We haven't touched a lot on CLR Forces, and they are a formidable team. What are your thoughts?
CLR Force is a group of guys that I know very well, a bunch of guys I play with in Midget. Very, very strong defensively. They got Dupree as their quarterback, university experience, and you got Ward as
former St. Leo Cougars QB as well.
as well. You got Guillaume Ward just doing freak things at receiver. He was doing it last night too. I think you saw some of it. I saw most of it. But I mean, it's tough. Watching them play, it's like a snooze fest. They take forever. It's just like hook, slant, and then a post to Guillaume. Dupree doesn't look like he's comfortable throwing the ball deep unless his receiver's wide open. I mean, his read basically looks like if you're wide open, I'm going to throw you the ball. Otherwise, I'm not going to hit you on a break. Or if it's a hook or a slant, maybe I will. He looks comfortable throwing a Guillaume over the middle, but that's about it.
So, I think we both agree that they're going to win this game over BC, but
They should.
Will they springboard with this win and take on some of the higher tier teams in the division?
No, I don't think so.
So that's it. Thank you for tuning in.
That's the truth. I mean,
that is the truth. And we actually came up with a sign off as well, so it's actually going to work. So you're Vince Nardone. I'm Jim Calethros. That's the truth. See you next time.